everyone, my name is Allison. I'm a quilter and a nurse, and I've been asked to put together a quick visual tutorial regarding a fabric mask that I've been making, about 400 of. So this is my first attempt at a YouTube video, so please bear with me. So the supplies for this fabric mask, which I call the Better Than Nothing mask, has been very popular for not working in an isolation unit for sure, but it's more for people that want to protect themselves out in the society and on units in the hospital that they just want some protection. So this is what I would call the Better Than Nothing pocket mask, and it's been shared with home care nurses and people that have been immunosuppressed. It's been shared with kids that are in families that are immunosuppressed, and I'm hoping that this is helpful for you. So I start with 2 pieces of cotton fabric, whether it's flannel or I would use good quality quilting fabric. The size is 8 inches in width and 9 inches in length. That's what I use for an adult mask. For a child size mask, I use 6 inches by 7 inches. So for the and for the child size mask, that's more for like an 8-year-old or younger. For the elastic sizes, you need 2 cuts of elastic. I'm using 7.5 inches on the adult mask, again 2 pieces, and for the child size mask, I use a 6.5 inch piece of elastic. I also recommend that you use at least a size 14 needle in your machine so you don't break it. Ask me how I know. And the first thing we're going to do is fold under fabric at the top of the length. So I did it here. I folded it under once. It's about a 1/2 inch. I pressed it down and then I pressed it again, and so I have a very nice seam at the top of my mask. So I did this for 2 sides of the mask. So, and I used 2 different fabrics on the mask because that way you know what's the front and the back. And you can see these don't exactly match up. So they match up at the top. That to me is the most important matchup. But at the bottom and one side's a little bigger. And that's okay, because we can work with that. This is an example of a finished mask. It's got the 3 pleats, it's got the side elastic bands, and it has an open pocket at the top that allows you to put in the filter of your choice. And it's a very comfortable mask. Ask me how I know. So I folded under on this side, and I folded under again on this side about 1/2 inch twice. And then what I did is I took my machine and I stitched across, just top stitching. It looks like you're putting a channel in the top, but we're not going to use it for that reason. It's just a fine finish for the top of your paper filter, which is really makes it more comfortable and easier to access. So I don't put any seams in the top at all for this mask. As you can see, it's just wide open, so you can add another paper filter, a paper mask. You can add a coffee filter. You can add a piece of interfacing, non-fusible, paper towel or a paper napkin. All of that is just going to give us some extra coverage. So at this point in the mask, we've got these 2 pieces. I put them face together. This one's pretty well matched up, so that's nice. So then I'm going to introduce you to my favorite buddy here, are the Wonder Clips. So you need I use about 6 in one mask. So if you have 6 of them handy, if you can pull those out. Then the elastic I'm using right now is 1/4 inch elastic. I was using 1/8 inch elastic and ran out, so this is the 1/4 inch elastic I'm using. I put the Wonder Clip at one end. I put the colored end of the Wonder Clip face up, so I know what side of the elastic I'm actually sewing in. So watch carefully. So it's laying down flat. So I open up the mask where I'm going to sew, and I tuck it in the top right corner. And I have a little bit sticking out, about 1/2 inch, just so that I know that I've actually caught the elastic. Then I sew about 1/8 inch from the end, just over the elastic, just to be sure it got secured. And then I take my machine and I sew all the way down one side, except I stop about a half an inch from the bottom. It doesn't have to be precise. None of this is precise. So then I take, remember that elastic right here? So I take it, I pull it down. Yep, it's going to look like a mess. I pick up my presser foot, I sneak this underneath, and I give it a little tug because I know it's the right side of the elastic. Then I put my presser foot down, and then I stitch. You see how my Wonder Clip is doing wonders? And then I add another little seam, so now it's also double stitched. So that side of the sewing is done. The next step is to sew across the bottom. And yes, I sew all the way across the bottom. See, these aren't matched up exactly, but that's okay. So I'm going about half an inch up. Whoops, gonna have to thread my needle first. Whoops. So you're gonna take and you're gonna actually thread, you're going to stitch all the way across. Whoops, oh, that's what it is. Oh, my light's catching on here, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so then you're going to stitch all the way across the bottom. And I do start on the non-elasticide side, but you can do it on either side. I just make sure it's pretty well lined up. There we go, all the way across the bottom. Right over the last seam. So now you actually have another secure piece of elastic. It's gone over 3 times. You have a seam all the way across the bottom, no gaps at the end. Then, remember the elastic with the trick with the elastic? We're going to do it again. Whoops, the wrong color. Here it is again, a Wonder Clip and the elastic. But we're starting at the bottom. That's the difference. So you just finished stitching all the way down. You're going to flip it over and start at the bottom. This is the other side. So I'm going to open it up, take the elastic, tuck it right in there, and make sure it's the right side up. See, it's all the right side up. I'm going to tuck that in there, and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do that double seam over the elastic just to make sure it's secure. Okay, and then I'm going, the elastic's waiting for me for the other end. I'm going to go all the way up to the top, except I'm going to stop about a half an inch from the top. And then I'm going to raise my presser foot. That elastic's waiting for me. I'm going to go right across the feed dog, and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to stitch, and then I'm going to move over, and I'm going to stitch. See how that Wonder Clip helps? So now you have pulling on both sides, but you're done with that piece of the sewing. And then I turn it out like this with my fingers. I was doing it with a gadget and decided it didn't need it. And whoops. And then I give these a little tug, and that gets the corners out with no problem because you put it in there so well. Pretend I went over the ironing board. I do make sure the bottom seam's pretty even. The rest of it, I just give it a little finger press, and that's really enough. This mask is reversible. That's the beauty of it, so you know what side of the mask you're using. So at this point, you've got 2 tugging sides, but when you iron it, it really helps prevent some of that tugging. So now the pleats start. Remember the pleats in the mask. So I use a straight edge like the end of my desk, and I pull it down about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, about that size. And I look for about a half an inch on the side and clip it. And these Wonder Clips are exactly 1/4 inch. So you should be able to get a good estimation to make sure it's about the same size fold. I do start at the bottom, work my way up, and make sure that I'm folding them all in the same direction. Then I bring it down again over the side of the table and do it again. And then I clip it, and then I clip it. And now I only have one more to do. I'm using this as a guide, this top stitching, because this one's a little tough to get around the Wonder Clips, but that's okay. And then I hold it, and I clip it. And now you see they're not going to be exact, and that's okay. What you do is try to get them as lined up as possible, and these are going to help add protection to the nose and the mouth. And this part is going to be really a nice wrap around the face. So then I just start, you can also go to the iron and give this a press at this point if that's what you want to do. I start at the top and I back stitch from the top. I'm about 1/4 of an inch from the, half, and it looks like more like 1/2 inch from the side, and I just stitch down all the way down and back stitch here again. And then I go back up at the top and do it one more time. And here it can get a little tricky. If you have a walking foot, it works really well. So this is not perfect, but that's okay. Again, about the width of my feet, my presser foot for me on this machine. And then I go all the way up. And then I make that second seam again. And that will be the mask, front and back. You can use both sides. The filter pocket is very easily accessible. It's a very nice fit. You do want to try and get the pleats as close as possible as far as size-wise, but it's an easy fit for 3. And then it's washed with warm water and soap, and to air dry to keep the weave from getting too relaxed. That's my opinion. Again, this is just the way I've made the masks. They've been very well received locally, and the ones that I've sent out, everyone loves them. I hope this has been helpful. I'm working on probably my 400th mask, and it's keeping me very busy, and your support in this task has been very much appreciated in the healthcare field. Thank you.